Masyarakat India merupakan etnik ketiga terbesar di Malaysia dan kebanyakan mereka memegang agama Hindu. Agama ini merupakan agama tertua di dunia ini dan dianggap bersifat agama semula jadi. Ini dikaitkan dengan istilah Sanatana Dharma bermaksud agama yang kekal.
Brahma, the golden egg, is the Hindu god or Deva of creation and one of the Trimurti, the others being Vishnu and Shiva. According to the Brahma Purana, he is the father of Manu, from whom all human beings are descended. In the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, he is often referred to as the great-grandsire of all human beings. Brahma's wife is Saraswati. He has two other wives, Savitri and Gayatri. All his three wives are Vedic goddesses and are revered as Vedamata, meaning mother of the Vedas. At the beginning of the process of creation, Brahma created 10 Prajapatis, used in another sense, who are believed to be the fathers of the human race. He is also said to have created the 7 great sages or the Saptarishi to help him create the universe. However, since all these sons of his were born out of his mind rather than body, they are called Manas Putras or mind sons or spirits. With Vedic and Puranic scripture, Brahma is described as only occasionally interfering in the affairs of the other devas or gods and even more rarely in mortal affairs. The legend says that Brahma was born in water, a seed that later became the golden egg from which Brahma the creator was born as Hiranyagarbha. The remaining materials of this golden egg expanded into the universe. Brahma is traditionally depicted to be clad in red clothes with 4 heads, 4 faces and 4 arms. With each head, he continually recites one of the 4 Vedas. He is often depicted with a white beard, indicating the nearly eternal nature of his existence. Unlike most other Hindu gods, Brahma holds no weapons. One of his hands holds a scepter while another of his hands holds a bow. He also holds a string of prayer beads called the Akshamala, which he uses to keep track of the universe's time. He is also shown holding the Vedas. Brahma's 4 arms represent the 4 cardinal directions: east, south, west and north. The back right hand represents the mind, the back left hand represents intellect, the front right hand is ego and the front left hand is self-confidence. The prayer beads symbolize the substances used in the process of creation. The book symbolizes knowledge. The golden face of Brahma indicates that he is actively involved in the process of creating the universe. The swan is the symbol of grace and discernment. Brahma uses the swan as his vahana or his carrier. Lord Brahma's crown indicates his supreme authority. The lotus symbolizes nature and the living essence of all things and beings in the universe. Brahma's black or white beard denotes wisdom and the eternal process of creation. The 4 Vedas symbolizes his 4 faces, heads and arms. Today, India has very few temples dedicated to Brahma. Among the few that exist today, the most famous is the temple in Pushkar in Rajasthan.
There are but a few days left for Pralaya.
He saw the royal sage Satyavrat, a staunch devotee, offering water to the mains. As Satyavrat scooped up the next handful of water,
"Oh, poor creature. How frightened it must be. I'll drop it back into the river."
O kind king, don't throw me back into the water.
"Don't fear, little one. I'll certainly protect you."
he put the fish into his kamandalu and took it to his hermitage. That night, the fish grew and grew till it filled the whole kamandalu. In the morning, when Satyavrat went to see him,
O king, this kamandalu is too small. Please find a more spacious vessel for me.
Satyavrat placed it in a large vessel of water. But within barely an hour, Satyavrat pushed the vessel to a large pond near the hermitage and tipped the fish into it. But in no time, the fish grew till it filled the whole pond.
O king, lead me to a large and deep lake. I'll die if I remain here. I need more water. O king, you are bound to provide it.
Exasperated, Satyavrat decided to lead it to the ocean. But Satyavrat now became suspicious.
Who are you? Could you be... You are Lord Vishnu. Please forgive me.
Satyavrat, 7 days from now, ocean will rise for the dissolution of creation. All the 3 worlds will be submerged. I'll send a spacious boat to rescue. Meanwhile, you must collect all the herbs, seeds and animals you want for the next kalp. Then, along with the Saptarishis, get into the boat and await me. Don't forget to bring Serpent's King Vasuki with you.
7 days later, huge clouds gathered and the rain poured down in torrents. The ocean began rising and huge tidal waves began swallowing the earth.
Pray the Lord Vishnu. He has promised me. He'll come to save us.
As advised by the fish, Satyavrat and the Saptarishis waited on the shores.
Look out! There comes the boat as the Lord had promised. Be prepared.
As soon as the vessel touched the shores, Satyavrat, along with the Saptarishis and the selected creatures, boarded it. As their boat was tossed about by the turbulent ocean, they suddenly saw the golden fish with horn approach them.
Hurry up! Fasten the vessel to my horn using Vasuki as a rope. Do not fear. All of you will be saved.
Vishnu taught Satyavrat and the Saptarishis the highest form of truth which has come down to us as a collection of Puranic lore called the Matsya Puran. Thus did Vishnu save true devotees from dissolution so that they might carry divine knowledge to the next kalp.
Shiva, as we know him today, was unknown to the Vedic people. They knew a form of Shiva who was different from the Shiva who was worshipped elsewhere in the Indian subcontinent. They worshipped a deity who personified their fears and anxieties in an unfamiliar territory surrounded by hostile tribes and an unfavorable nature. We know Shiva as a part of the Trinity, as indweller of the world of Kailash, as a yogi seated on the top of a snowy mountain somewhere in the Himalayas, watching the worlds above and below with his inner eye. We know him to be the source of all knowledge, arts and crafts, and the life force that flows down from the heavens in the form of an eternal river, by coming into contact with which all our karmas are neutralized. We know him as the father of Lord Ganesha and Kumara, the husband of both Parvati, the mother goddess, and Ganga, who rides the bull Nandi. We worship him both in his image form and symbolically as a Shivalinga. We worship him ritually, extolling his virtues and invoking him by his 1,000 names. But the Vedic people had a different concept of Shiva. They were not very familiar with his peaceful or adorable forms. They perceived him mostly as a god of anger, death and destruction, and feared him most. Uttering his very name on certain occasions was considered inauspicious and required the performance of certain rituals. He was relatively unknown in the early Vedic period, but as the time went by, he superseded most of the Vedic gods and was recognized not only as Brahman or the highest of all gods, but also as a part of the Hindu Trinity as the destroyer of the worlds, along with Brahma, the creator god, and Vishnu, the preserver. Prior to his integration into the Vedic religion, Lord Shiva was worshipped mainly outside the Vedic society by people with whom they were not very familiar. Even today, we find Lord Shiva being exceptionally popular among many ancient tribes of India, such as the Chenchus and the Malavans, who live in the remote areas of South India and consider Shiva not only as a hunter and a forest deity, but also as the ancestor of their tribes.
Agama Hindu merupakan salah satu agama yang berpegang dan berlandaskan kepada kategori kedua, iaitu konsep kitaran semula. Masyarakat India mempercayai bahawa kehidupan akan sentiasa berulang-ulang seperti roda yang tiada permulaan dan juga tiada penghujung. Agama yang memegang konsep ini tidak percaya bahawa kehidupan ini akan bertitik nokta dengan kematian. Manusia yang dilahirkan yang kemudiannya meninggal dunia akan dilahirkan semula secara terus-menerus. Individu yang telah meninggal dunia akan dilahir semula. Kelahiran semula yang berlaku ini adalah berdasarkan perbuatan semasa hidupnya di dunia. Proses kelahiran semula ini berlaku berdasarkan perlakuan individu tersebut semasa hayatnya di dunia. Seseorang yang melakukan kebaikan semasa hidupnya akan dilahirkan dalam keadaan yang lebih baik pada hayat yang lain. Masyarakat Hindu biasanya mempunyai kepercayaan terhadap balasan karma. Karma adalah konsep aksi atau perbuatan yang dalam agama India dikenali sebagai sesuatu yang menyebabkan seluruh kitaran sebab akibat. Dalam konsep karma, pengumpulan akibat tindakan, perilaku dan sikap dari kehidupan yang lampau dan yang menentukan nasib saat ini, maka karma berkaitan erat dengan kelahiran kembali, iaitu reinkarnasi. Seperti dalam contoh video, pemandu yang telah menghalang laluan van ambulans itu telah mendapatkan karmanya. Ibu pemandu itu yang berlaku kecemasan telah menaiki van ambulans ke hospital yang dihalang oleh diri sendirinya.
Dalam kepercayaan agama Hindu, kaum wanita dihormati tetapi tidak diberikan taraf yang sama dengan kaum lelaki. Seseorang wanita yang bersifat pemalu, merendahkan diri, takut kerana malu dan akan mengundurkan diri dari semua yang tidak biasa. Hanya beginilah seorang digambarkan sebagai wanita yang baik. Mereka juga dikehendaki memainkan peranan yang pasif. Terdapat 3 jenis wanita yang dibincangkan dalam kesusasteraan. Segam, iaitu berkahwin dan mempunyai keluarga. menjadi pertapa dan menjalankan kehidupan sebagai pelacur profesional atau sebagai perempuan simpanan. Walau bagaimanapun, selepas kemerdekaan, undang-undang dan akta digubal oleh kerajaan bagi member hak sama rata kepada kedua-dua jantina. Wanita turut telah diberi peluang untuk melanjutkan pelajaran ke peringkat yang lebih tinggi seperti ke kolej dan universiti.
Purusharta merupakan sebutan Sanskrit secara harfiah yang bermaksud objek kejar manusia. Ia adalah satu konsep yang penting dalam agama Hindu dan merujuk kepada 4 goal betul atau matlamat hidup manusia. 4 Purusharta adalah Dharma, merupakan kebenaran atau nilai-nilai moral. Yang keduanya ialah Artha, merupakan kemakmuran atau nilai ekonomi, dan ketiga ialah Kama, merupakan kesenangan atau cinta atau nilai fizikologi, dan akhirnya ialah Moksha, merupakan pembebasan atau nilai-nilai spiritual. Kesemua 4 Purusharta adalah penting, tetapi dalam kes-kes konflik, Dharma dianggap lebih penting daripada Artha atau Kama. Dalam falsafah Hindu, moksha dianggap ideal utama kehidupan manusia. Dharma merupakan salah satu Purusharta. Ia adalah satu konsep utama dengan makna yang pelbagai dalam agama Hindu, Buddha, Sikh dan Jainisme. Tidak ada perkataan pun terjemahan untuk Dharma dalam bahasa Barat. Dalam agama Hindu, Dharma menandakan tingkah laku yang dianggap sebagai dengan arti perintah itu yang menjadikan kehidupan dalam alam semesta mungkin, dan termasuk tugas, hak, undang-undang, kelakuan, sifat dan cara yang betul hidup. Seterusnya ialah Artha. Artha adalah salah satu daripada 4 matlamat hidup manusia dalam falsafah India. Artha, perkataan harfiah diterjemahkan sebagai makna, perasaan, matlamat, tujuan atau intipati bergantung kepada konteksnya. Artha juga satu konsep yang lebih luas di dalam kitab-kitab agama Hindu. Sebagai satu konsep, ia mempunyai makna yang pelbagai, semua yang membayangkan cara hidup, aktiviti dan sumber-sumber yang membolehkan seseorang untuk berada dalam keadaan yang mahu menjadi dalam. Kama merupakan salah satu Purusharta. Ia bermakna keinginan, hasrat, kerinduan dalam kesusastraan India. Kama sering membawa maksud keinginan seksual dan rindu dalam kesusastraan kontemporari, tetapi konsep yang lebih meluas merujuk kepada mana-mana keinginan, hasrat, menghairankan, rindu diperkenalkan oleh panca-daira, keseronokan estetik hidup, kasih sayang atau cinta dengan atau tanpa konteksi seksual. Dalam agama Hindu dan falsafah India, moksha juga dikenali sebagai vimoksha, vimukti dan EMDB, bermakna pembebasan atau pelepasan. Dalam erti kata soteriologi dan ekstatologi, ia membawa maksud kebebasan daripada samsara yang merupakan kitaran kematian dan kelahiran semula. Dalam epistemologi dan rasa fizikologi, moksha membawa maksud kebebasan, kesedaran diri dan pengetahuan diri. Dalam tradisi Hindu, moksha adalah satu konsep pusat dan dimaksudkan sebagai salah satu daripada 4 aspek dan matlamat kehidupan manusia. Konsep moksha terdapat dalam Jainisme, Buddha dan Hindu.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.